What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of the Grind Cast. Get ready, it's a new day, and I have my very good friend and right-hand man in this business, the Matty D.
What's up, everyone?
We got Matty D in the house. So, real quick with Matty D, not only is he a beast in business, this is one of the guys that, when I had the opportunity, our company gave me the offer and opportunity. Wow, I can't believe it's been 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years ago was the first time to be the CEO of one of the insurance companies that Torchmark Corporation owns. And they said, if you had to pick a person, I wanted to pick a person or two that I could bring with me, obviously, like any coach would, in order to, go to a program. You don't go by yourself, you bring some of your staff. I thought so highly of his business skills at that point that one of the first people that came to my mind was Matty D. And if there was, three that I could take, there was others I could take, I would want to do that. But in my first thought process was him. That's how much I believe in your skill set, and I've watched your leadership level grow over the years. And so from there, more important than that, he's one of the best friends a person can ask for. Great father of two beautiful children, getting married, excited to go to Italy for your
2 weeks
for your wedding.
Yeah.
We're going to be in Italy, and on accident I crashed your after party to the wedding. They call your honeymoon. It's now going to be an after party because me and Nat are going to be there for a day or two in Greece on accident, or so you think. And so I want to turn this over to exposing you to other people right now that are listening. And maybe I think the first place for us to start, Matty D, is your start to this whole deal. What you were doing prior to this,
yeah,
and how that all happened and where you're at right now. Because I think a lot of times people get stuck in where they're at, and they're so afraid to make a jump, whether it's in this business or in other businesses or opening up their own business or whatever. They just get stuck in that, and I'm doing this, so I couldn't possibly, if I'm counseling kids, how does counseling kids move over to a business situation where you're dealing with insurance or financial products? And I joke a lot and say, well, you had the perfect background for this, because we're back to counseling kids.
Troubled kids.
Troubled youth. And so talk to us about that transition.
Yeah, so thank you, Simon. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and hopefully could add a little bit of value, whether it's 1 or 1 million people that take something from this. But I was raised in Pittsburgh my whole life, blue-collar kid, and went through hardships growing up, where there was periods of times where my parents were unemployed, and didn't know at the time, but we were broke, couldn't pay. I remember, my dad negotiating for tuition at school when I was in special programs and whatnot. But I don't think, just like a lot of my friends and a lot of people I talk to that grew up in Pittsburgh that are in their 30s, 40s, they'll tell you, like, we were broke, but we didn't even know it. We were eating cereal, milk with bread in it, as our dinners. And that we just thought that was a meal. We were happy kids growing up, and they were able to, kind of come together in my teenage years. My dad got a job with PennDOT, which is a pretty prominent job, in PA, and ended up becoming a foreman with them. And our lifestyle started to get better to the point where they were able to put me through college, and I went to the University of Pittsburgh, and it was a political science degree and legal studies minor, and
political science and legal studies.
Political science and legal study. I think the only class that I probably liked was history and social studies. I liked law. Wasn't good at math. Wasn't good at science. Just kind of liked law, but didn't know exactly what you'd want to do with it. I think a lot of people just go to college, and it's almost like that. We're programmed like that. 50, 60, 70% of my friends, what they went to college for, they're not in that field. So I just thought that's what you were supposed to do. I went to college, and when I came out of school, I had these big dreams. You want to make a lot of money. You just want to make a lot of money. You want nice things. You look at people, see on TV, you just want these nice things. So part of me, and I look back, I was so naive, I literally just thought, all right, I graduated, I was 22, 23 years old, and I was naive, never really been on a real job interview before.
I graduated, throw me a big paying job.
Yeah, I just thought like, okay, I graduated, where's my money? Where's my 6-figure job offers? And it like didn't happen like that, you know, from 22 to maybe 25, 26 years old, and University of Pittsburgh's, you know, pretty good degree. There was nobody just willing to give you a 6-figure position, you know, at that position in Pittsburgh, at least that I knew of. It was thought about law school, but grades weren't good enough. My work ethic and discipline and study habits weren't good enough at the time to even probably pursue it. So it was like a deep thought. I just wanted the money that the lawyers make. So I was doing construction for a while, and 24, 25, I'm like, I got to get in the work field. I got to get into it somewhere. Even though it stunk starting somewhere, I knew I had to do it. You know, and I ended up taking a position as a counselor here in Pittsburgh for adolescent youth. And you know, they have a place in Pittsburgh where kids get locked up, and if they're bad, they send them, while they're locked up, they send them to another place. And that's where I was teaching. Whenever they were bad, they came to this place. So, you know, I oversaw about 25, 30 kids. A lot of them were from Philly, some of them were from Pittsburgh. And they were in there for anywhere from rape, theft, you know, violent crime, you know, aggravated assault, you know, and they were anywhere from 13 to 18 years old. So, you know, part of me that I realized always liked teaching. I liked helping people. I liked dealing with people, and that was kind of my first avenue. I said, okay, maybe I could get some experience here, end up being a history teacher at a collegiate level or college level, something like that. And that was my beginning base. So, you know, I got to meet with the kids, hang with kids in a classroom setting, and you kind of rank the kids. A lot of them were in gangs. You know, a lot of them were gang related. You kind of rank them from the leader and whatnot. And while I was there, I noticed I was developing social skills to befriend troubled, you know, all kinds of different personalities. A lot of them were cool, and I was completely different upbringing and background from a lot of them, but found a way to be able to relate with them, which later helped me out in sales, and got used to the teaching aspect, how to teach someone that's never learned something.
How did you even, so what was the next step from there? Did you come straight from there into
American Income.
Income and Arias agencies?
Yeah, I was there for about a year and liked it, but you know, I didn't like the paychecks. You know, I was like, whenever I had this goal of what I wanted to make, I always thought that I would make it by 55. Like I thought I would be a middle age, and I would finally work my way up for 25, 30 years and make that income.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, when I saw it in my head, that's what age I saw it at.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Tommy Vino started working here in July, I think, of 2008. Mm-hmm. And I started hanging out with him, started seeing him in the clubs in January, February 2008, 6, 7 months later. And you start noticing that he had this Chrysler 300 GT. And I remember, I thought it was the coolest thing. He had a computer screen that was a 42-inch flat screen. And I'm thinking, we're 25 years old, broke, you know, we're struggling for day to day. I was making 800 take home every 2 weeks. So, you know, you do the math on how there's not much left over. So he had toys. And I'm thinking, oh, these are nice. I'm like, what do you do? And we knew the same people and whatnot. So he slowly started slow playing me. We were going out. He was wine and dining me. I didn't even know it. And you know, he invited me in an interview. Before I came in for an interview, I met you. And you were a 25-year-old kid with a Range Rover. And in Pittsburgh, with the people that I grew up with, you didn't have a Range Rover at 25 years old unless you were doing something highly illegal. And you were in a legal business, and so that intrigued me big time, to say the least. You know, I think at that age, you go through stages of your life, what you're chasing and what's important to you.
Right.
And anybody that tells you...
At that point, young, it catches your attention.
I mean, anybody that tells you 21, 22, 23 years old, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that motivates you. I didn't have kids. You know, you go through goals and stages of what comes important to you. You move finish lines and whatnot as you grow older. But at that age, I mean, that was what I wanted. Yeah, I mean, that was what I was.
So you pulled up in what? You know, I know people have talked about this car.
Not a lot of people. You and Britt mainly killed it. A lot of people. I had to tell us about this. She was nice in her prime, man. I got it when I was 16. That was 1998. It was a Chevy Lumina, and it was gold, champagne gold. It had leather seats, a CD player, and a sunroof. At 16 years old, I mean, that's a prize. That's like a Bentley. You know, however, fast forward, you know, 11 years or so, the air conditioner was broke, and you know, the power windows were shaky. There was a few rolls, a few dents, and one of the headlights was a tinted yellow. So Britain called it the gold tooth pirate whenever I pulled. We'd go pull up, we'd go to Southside and try to look like we had a lot of money and go out and stuff. So I'd have to park that thing a good 10 blocks away.
Fast forward.
Right.
What's where you're at now? What happened? And then we'll get that change.
I switched over to the company, passed my insurance test in March, and started in March 2009. And I had no sales experience and no management experience at the time. And but I did have mentorship with you and with Tommy, with a lot of other people in the company, that I picked their brains. By my second calendar year with the company, I made $250,000. And I was 27, 28 years old at the
Quarter
time.
mil.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about
30 years ahead of schedule.
Yeah, you talk about a life-changing experience going from where you're at and the lifestyle you're used to and what you know to 36 months later, not even 36 months, 29, 30 months, a whirlwind of change in your life. And that a lot of stuff comes with that. A lot of responsibility comes with that. A lot of decisions and smart decisions, what you do with it, how you affect people, how you influence comes with it. So there's a lot of stuff that comes with it by 28, 29 years old that I went through. And from now to, fast forward 10 years later, you get used to dealing with it. I'm 36 years old and still learning a ton. But the overall point is, I was blessed with an opportunity where I was even able to be faced with a situation and be able to do it.
And I think, it's hard to talk about, and we mentioned you were talking about that, my early motivation was this, but I'll preface it on two things. One is the money don't make the man makes the money. And so it doesn't matter if you're not a good son and you're not a good friend and you're not a good brother, you're not a good person, you're not a good father, and all of that stuff, which all of those things you are, and anyone that comes in contact with you, can see your humility and your hard to not love. But also, the second thing is I'm not gonna apologize or, I don't want you to feel what is going to motivate somebody out there listening is that you can be all those great things and still live in a house that you could probably sell for close to $1 million, right now in one of the better areas in the north of Pittsburgh, and that you have an Escalade and multiple nice vehicles, and you're getting married in Italy, and you'll make over close to $1 million this year, somewhere around there. And these are things that, as I'm saying it, I know it just makes you see you quivering.
It's a lot. It's still very humbling to even hear.
To hear.
Yeah.
But we can't apologize for that, because there's somebody listening on the other end of this that will inspire and motivate. So let's be real about that's where you're really at. His residuals right now are. Before you wake up out of bed, and this is today, and if we check back in another 2 years, this number's probably going to double. But I would say, this year you should be close to 200 grand in residuals. That means before you wake out of bed, every month you're getting a check from work that's already been done, and from this business, and from the things that you've done, and people that you've led, and work that you've put in, that just wake up next year, we're gonna, no matter what's going on with the market, if you don't show up for if you go once a week to the office, don't matter, you're starting out the year almost at $200,000. So why don't we start walking into what are some of the things that you have found in and you're overseeing 6-7 offices right now. I like to you have a hand in almost everything that we do for this agency. You're as good as it gets in this business, and has put together a run, over the last 10 years that's up there, with some of the top people in the company. What have you found are some of the better traits, that you look for in somebody now? If you're picking and choosing who you're going to coach, who you're going to mentor, who are the people that you're looking for? How do you know, hey, this is a girl, this is a guy that I'm going to put a little bit extra effort in. I'm going to develop and spend some time with this person because they have these traits.
Yeah, I think that to preface it, how trait, before I even get into what the traits are, how important that they are. My parents weren't able to set us up with a trust fund or a bunch of money, anything like that. They were able to put me through school. They weren't able to give me money to start a business, but I think that they did instill these traits that allowed me to grow. They taught me these traits, and I think part of it is you can't really tell unless you've known or grown up with someone. You really don't know their traits, especially in our business where you're doing an interview process, and how long do you have from the initial interview to you're moving forward with someone, hiring. So a lot of what you're going to go off is gut. A lot of what you're going to go off is gut, life experience, intuition, the way people look at you in the eye.
How about when people are already in the business, though?
And you start to see, whenever that's going to be your best bet, except when you don't know someone, is you start to see their day-to-day interactions and how do they handle things. So I think the most common ones that you're going to look for are, what are their social skills like?
Likability?
Yeah, I read somewhere that they did a study on a bunch of millionaires, and 85% of the millionaires they attributed their financial success to human engineering, their ability to get along with people, to motivate others, to inspire others, to become friends with different groups amongst the organization, to ultimately kind of get them to where they wanted to be. And only 15% of those millionaires attributed to, I think, technical engineering, they call it, where their actual knowledge on it. So I think that no matter what business you're in, that likable and social skills and how you get along with others are going to be huge.
Yeah.
So watch how they interact. A lot of times I don't even know that I'm watching them. How do they do they say things that shouldn't be said at certain times? What's their timing? What's their delivery? What's their body language? People underestimate body language.
Huge.
And that's 70% of communication, especially when you don't have a relationship with someone yet. If somebody was like walking into, if you had a CEO that you didn't know they were a CEO, and at the end of a meeting or at the end of a week after them spending some time in the office, if they had $1 million position to hand away and all they could really go off is what they saw, would you be that person that they're going to give that money to based on what they saw out of your body language throughout the week? Because whether we like it or not, the mental state shows in your body language.
Big time.
Like, it's impossible, if you even tried to do the exercise, it's impossible to be very smile and happy and upbeat body language, but have negative thoughts. Like, if you try it, and same thing vice versa. If you slump over and have a miserable face and you're like this and arms crossed and you're trying to think really happy, motivating, it's impossible to do, because whether your body language shows your mental state.
Wow.
So I'm going to watch this stuff throughout a week. I'm going to watch when other people are talking. Where's their eyes at? Are they zoned in? You could tell in 1 second if someone glazes over. In a thing, which is completely natural. But these are stuff that I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at their punctuality, dependability. Part of it's hard to even judge till you see them handle a little bit of adversity. Just depending on what someone's goals are.
Why don't we talk about that a little bit? I think part of anyone's journey in anything great is going to be adversity, obstacles.
Yeah.
What tips, if any, would you give to people that overcome obstacles and adversity? Because
right.
you're super positive. You know what I mean? And this is coming from somebody that I think most think would say I'm positive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're super positive. You're one of the only people I could think of that made it this far in this business and never thought about quitting even once. I've joked about, man, I've thought about, everybody's thought about quitting. Have you ever done it? He's like, nope, never thought about quitting one time. And why don't we talk a little bit about how would you coach someone? What do you think are ways that people can get through obstacles, adversity? Because I don't know. There's not many. Do you think there's a way to have a lot of success without going through some type of?
No, and that's I'm laughing because I think the people, whoever the people, the forefathers that wrote the rules of success, they wrote it in such a beautiful way that it tests you. It's impossible. So common sense should tell you, whatever it is that you're chasing, if I want to get high and perform at a high level and shoot up the ranks to a top 5%, whatever that is in that field.
You scared me for a minute. I'm like, I don't think you smoke, Maddie. You said if I wanted to get high.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened in the last couple days?
Yeah. If you wanted to get to that, they write the rules, so you have to go through these adversities to see who can make it out to the other side. They make the rules like that, you know,
or everybody
would be in it. So that is one thing, is just expecting it and understanding the game.
I agree.
You know, going into the game like with no entitlement expectations. Like, here's point. If I got to get to point D, I got to expect. If D's the top, I'm expecting to go through some
shit.
Yeah. Can we swear in this?
Yeah, shit.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna expect. Yeah, Giovanni's giving thumbs up. Damn right we can. F and A. Yeah.
Well, he's in here with Maurice. You know how Mo goes.
I'm gonna expect to go through some shit. So you're fooling yourself to think that you're not. And here's the thing about adversity. Adversity is going to tailor make it to you specifically, and what will bother you the most. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I might have been someone through the same adversity of you. It just didn't, that particular thing didn't bother me, so I didn't even think nothing of it. Where vice versa. You know, like stuff that maybe has bothered me coming up in business, to you is just, you know, it's nothing. So we get hit with all these adversities, but the ones that are going to affect you the most are going to be tailor-made to whatever bothers you the most. Whether that is relationship problems. Some people, I got it, I own that side of things. Others, it crushes them, you will go through it, but everybody goes through it. So the ones that stand out are the ones that are going to bother you. Death in the family, missing parties, missing events, waking up early, studying, doing extra before you're paid for it. I don't know what it is, but you're going to get hit with it. So understand that as well. And the rule of thumb that I'll try to live by is, you know, that can I control it? Can I control it? You know, could I have controlled it? Am I in a position where I put myself throughout this adversity and I'll be conscious and hit the 90-day rewind button and say, okay, you could have
take some ownership.
Yeah, you could have controlled this adversity, Matt. You put yourself in this position. Dual note it and take ownership for it.
That's hard for people to do. That's called self-awareness.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people being able to grow is you have to be self-aware to be able to look and reflect internally and look at it from up here and say, hey, you know, I probably could have done this better. You know, things that you're talking about right now.
Right. And, you know, for a true hustler, they don't like that feeling of adversity. So I'd rather fix the stuff that I did wrong through the 90 days, so I don't got to worry about that adversity anymore and that uncomfortable feeling and hardship that I put myself through. So, you know, that's one of them. Knowing when to pick and choose your battles. You know, what adversities are big, what of them are little. You know, I'll see people that'll battle these minute things, small things, spend a day, 2 days on them.
Talk about that, because this is it's a big one.
Right.
You know, I think for people trying to grow in leadership or in a business, they could get so stubborn on things. It's like we're arguing over a nickel. And because of that, we're missing out on $10. You know, or we're arguing over $100 and we're missing out on 10,000.
Right. And you know, we're in the relationship of sales, and we just talked about human engineering and how important likability is in your social skills. So to perform at a high level, if you're going to be with a company for a long time, you know, if you're making a sales, depending on what sales that you're in, sales a lot of times is a short-term. It's a short-term friendship. You know, especially in, you know, maybe an hour, 2 hours, or even a week or 2 weeks, depending on how long you wine or dine. But if you get into a point where you're long-standing, where you're leading people, where you're on a team for years, whatever it may be, that is a long-term relationship skills. So just like a marriage, you got to understand, you have to pick and choose which battles you want to go at, test, because if you try to pick every one and win each battle, you're going to find yourself unlikable in losing the ultimate war of motivating you, whatnot. You almost like the boy who cried wolf. So it's like, okay, common sense should tell me what battle, is this big or is this small? Can I lose maybe 2 or 3 of these battles to win a bigger one that means something more important to me down the road? And if that is not something that somebody is naturally good at and is standing out, they need a mentor that they can run those little battles out. Hey, is this worth me being this upset about? No? All right, I trust you again. I got to move on. You know, or is this? Yeah,
what things can you think of maybe at 25, 27?
Yeah.
that at 37 you're good at versus what you weren't good at? You know, what things were you say, well, these things I wasn't really good at 27, but at 37, you know, I'm good at them.
Right. I think that probably the one that just shoots into my head as you're talking is me being able to control others. When you get in a position where you're really trying to control the way others think or talk or respond to you, or they're not going to think like you. You know, and that used to drive me crazy at 26 or 25. Like, this is the right way of thinking. This is the right way of doing it. Why are you not thinking the exact same way and doing the exact same thing? And so it would almost like bother me to the point where I wanted to, and I was being confrontational a lot of times. And I think that as the game slows down, you'll hear people start saying the game slows down, office days slow down and whatnot.
Yeah.
As long as you know you're doing the right thing, teaching people the right stuff, your heart's in a good place, you're giving people the right advice that isn't, there is no hidden agendas behind it and whatnot. You know, you can only lead a horse to water, you can't force them to drink. So I stopped kind of forcing, obsessing.
Let yourself get all upset.
Yeah, because it will cause you a ton of stress.
The ones that won't. You just got to work with the ones that do.
Yes,
and let them do them.
You got it. Instead of trying to force them, sometimes you want things more for people than they want it,
Yeah.
and that bothered me a lot.
Yeah, same.
More in my 20s than 30s. You know, I would say just you know, I'm content with the leadership that I'll give, that it's from a good place and stuff. I just can't force people.
What traits have you seen in some of our top players? You know, be it new people in their first 6 months or leaders that you've seen here, you know, 5-10 years plus. What traits stick out to you that all of the good ones have?
I'm laughing because a lot of the good ones are pain in the butts, including myself. So I mean, don't give up on, you know, some of these top-notch tiers, these top-notch talents that might be in your organization. Don't be surprised if they're a pain in the ass a little bit.
Especially early on.
Yeah, especially
You're
early.
not that big of a pain now.
Right. Whether they're 25 like myself, you know, or 40, some of them that just might not have ever had mentorship or leadership to kind of coach them in the right direction. So they're wilding out in the beginning. And when stuff's new,
yeah. So this is a good chance for us to tell the story of how great.
Yeah, they wild out.
How responsible you were. So what? You know, I think was this your first year?
Yeah.
You know, he was in his first year.
First couple months.
And I had, at this point, we were small enough, and I was doing a quarterly recognition meeting. Versus now we're so big, we get together once a year. We can't do it quarterly. So we had quarterly recognition meetings, and we had it at a nice hall. Ironically, it was at the place we just had the Inspiring Minds cocktail party fundraiser. You know, real nice place, not cheap, very expensive. You get a gleam in your eye when
you tell this story. He loves telling this story.
And so we're there. We're announcing awards, and you know, here, please stand for your name to be recognized. And Matt Diulus.
Yeah. Nice spotlight.
I'm looking on. I'm whispering to Nat D. Where's he at? Find out. Tommy, see where he's at. And so he's at Putin Bay. He was in Putin Bay.
That's Ohio place.
And so no one knew where he was the whole day. Never showed up.
Up in that place.
Never showed up. And so the next day, or maybe it was the day after that, within the next 24 or 48 hours, I have him in my office with my brother-in-law. Now my brother-in-law, at this point, he just missed the boat with you at Putin Bay. And they're sitting, both of those two sitting in front of me, trying to explain to me how they missed the boat. Yeah, you give me to see what happened. So what did happen?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, we went out Saturday. We planned on coming home Sunday, and we had to leave the hotel before like 10 a.m. You had to check out at the ferry. We were going to get on at like 2 or 3. So we said, let's go to this outdoor bar pool, or pool bar.
Squeeze one last extra.
No, we were just going to hang out. We had good intentions. And, you know, we weren't even in bathing suits. And they didn't open until like 11. We got there at 10:30, but the bartender took a liking to us. He said, no, don't tell anyone, man. Gave us a couple drinks.
Look at the blaming.
Yeah, and then, you know, around 11:30, we were like, well, at least let's swim. We bought some bathing suit trunks. You know, fast forward, I wish you could fast forward 4 p.m. I think the last ferry left the island at like 5 on Sunday. And, you know, 4 p.m. we were doing those chicken fights. What is that thing where you hold people on
Oh,
your shoulder?
wow.
Yeah,
I wish I had a video of that.
Hold their breath
Us
longer.
sitting there
I
getting
mean, I wish I had a
awards
better.
and suits and
I wish I
ties.
could tell you I was
You guys
counseling, helping people. You know, we looked at the clock and we.
So the bottom
You
line
missed
is
the ferry.
sometimes,
Yeah, it's
in the
gonna
beginning, you
happen.
got to be patient with people.
Look, a lot of these wild horses, like a marlin. You ever go to catch one of those big trophy marlins that you're going to put over your mantle, man?
Yeah.
I mean, the fight to reel them in is like,
Wow.
you know, it ain't like a normal little fish that you just pull up out of the water. You're back and forth trying to rear these people
That's
in.
how it was for me trying to slow you down.
Yeah, right. And they rebel against structure. They rebel against laws and rules, and you know, a lot of them, that's how they live their life. So even though they might want it, their initial instinct is to fight it. And you might either be coaching someone right now that is in that thing, in that ball game, or going through it. You know, so understand that it's normal, but understand that you have to show also good signs, good intentions. And if you're going through that and you're the player right now,
You
that is
can't just
rebelling.
be the pain in
No,
the ass.
no, yes.
Oh, well, just
there has to be a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there
More
has to
than
be,
one plus.
There has to be
Yeah.
results. There has to be ownership. There has to be manly conversations and vision and promising, and that, you know, you better have a lot of potential if you're going to do that, or else you just put yourself in a position where you could get fired from the organization. So, you know, that
Other than being a pain in the ass, is there any other things?
yes, yeah, they're competitive. They're always competitive, and everybody, you know, I read in a John Maxwell book, and this is Maxwell.
I get worried when people like
Right. Maxwell, he's met way more successful people than me, and I remember him saying, look, I've never met a very successful business owner that wasn't competitive. Never. He said, I've yet to meet one. And, you know, everybody's is different. You know, you might be competing with yourself or a better version of yourself. You could be competing with another person. You could just be competing with a number, not even a person. Whatever, you could be competing with some shit somebody said to you 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do know that if you're not competitive, you're just going to accept whatever you are. And that is not a trait of someone that I've seen highly successful. They're chasing stuff. They're always chasing stuff. And competitive nature brings the best out of people. They're positive. They have human social skills. They're not afraid to work.
positive, not negative.
Oh yeah, no. They're positive. You could get to. I think that you could get to a certain. You know, I think you can make six figures with having a negative attitude that you hide a little bit and mask that you're negative by nature, but you put on a little bit, but you kind of compensate with work ethic maybe, like if you're lacking at one, but to really, you know, to get that 1%, $439,000 of income or up, you can't, you know, there's certain things that you're going to fall off that you're going to need the higher you climb. And true positive mind frame and your feelings about your organization, the people around you, your gratitude, your lack of entitlement. This is stuff that will eventually come to light the higher that you're trying to climb. You know, you might be able to make $150,000, I feel like, with a little bit of a negative attitude and a great work ethic. I don't think you can make $1 million with a negative attitude and a killer work ethic.
Right.
You know, all these stuff.
Not consistently and
No.
not over time, won't last. If so, maybe 1 in a million.
Right. It has to align. You know, people that they're coachable. They find mentorships and they're coachable. Human nature. It's human nature to be selfish in general. You know, that's just human. So you almost have to plan that around being selfish in your day to day. You literally have to put in your schedule things that you could do for others that won't make you selfish. It's also human nature to not do stuff that they don't want to do. You see what I'm saying? So like, so it's almost like, you know, whenever you find a mentor, and I'll just use me and you as an example. You know, it's just half the things that it will take to get to where you want to be, you're not going to want to do. And I think special players, special people will do them anyway because they want that result so bad that they don't care about the task. The ones that won't do them, the result's secondary to the actual task of doing it and getting outside their comfort zone. So,
What do you, give me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's like
for people, I understood, but
yeah.
I could see how that would be hard to understand.
Just anything, whether it's dieting or waking up early or just stuff that you don't like doing. You know, say a mentor or a coach tells you that somebody that has what you want tells you to do 10 different things. Out of those 10, you're probably going to have 4 that you don't want to do. And special ones will do those 4, even though compared to the other ones that won't do it. Majority won't do it. And it's not that the special ones want to do it. They don't want to do it. It's actually a smaller margin. But the special ones that are willing to do those 4 things they don't want to do, it's because all they're seeing is 55, 60%. Their brain is focused on what they're going to get out of it and the ultimate result that person has. The other ones, the majority that won't, they're seeing 55, 60% of the actual task, and they can't get by that of not wanting to do it.
That drives me crazy more than anything.
But they still have the vision, the 40%. They're outweighed.
And they wonder why they're not getting it.
They're outweighed.
So they wonder why. Those are the wanters.
Yeah.
I wishers.
Yeah.
I wish I had. Must be nice.
Right.
I want.
Yep.
The want, wish, must be nice folks. Typically in those that have enough talent to do it, the problem is that you're doing what you like to do. You're only doing the things that you want to do. You're not doing anything you're like, all right, I'm coachable till you tell me anything but that. I'm not going to listen to these 2 things. And then we wonder why, what's cool about, what's cool about business in general, I think that, if you start out and there's 10 things that you have to do and there's 4 that you don't like to do, over time you can really end up hiring and delegating the 3 out of those 4 or 4 out of those 4, but there's always going to be something that pops up that you got to do that you don't want to do. And I think really therein lies one of the true success tips and secrets that one can get today and every day, is that, man, if you want to take your life to the next level, there's going to be some things you don't want to do that you have to do anyways. And there's going to be some things that you don't feel like doing that you have to do anyways in order to get to where you want to go. And if you don't, you're gonna be looking around, wandering around, and you're gonna be quitting on people and quitting on things every time you don't like something, only to figure out there's always going to be something that you don't like, and there's always to go to the next level.
Right. And you said it best. You eventually you could delegate the stuff you don't like, but you have to do them at first to put yourself in a financial situation to delegate.
I remember I couldn't wait to delegate dog shit cleaning. I remember when I used to have to, in the rain. I would go out in the rain. I used to have to, we lived in a condo, me and Nat, and we had a bull mastiff. Rest in peace, my girl Nadia. And this was like a horse. You know what I mean? And so, man, who's gonna do it today? And 8 out of 10 times Nat would do it, but 2 out of 10 times I get stuck, and I had to go do it. And man, I used to tell her, man, please, at some point we got to get somebody to do that. I don't care what I got to pay, because I can't do this all the time. And man, I'm telling you, if that dream didn't become a reality, we ended up, now we have, and we've had for a long time, a great guy, that's part of, what he'll do other things in his business and dog sitting and all of that, and part of what he'll do, he don't mind doing that, but that's part of it, is that I used to have to clean dogs. So in your business, in your life, you got to clean up some dog shit for a while, and then you can pay somebody to clean up that shit. Close us down, Maddie, with any advice that you would give to, it's kind of corny, but I like it. Maybe if you were giving advice to Christian and Ava, and saying, hey, these are 3 things, or these are a couple. I don't know why the number 3 always sticks out, but these are 3 things I would tell you to do if you want to be great in life, if you want to be successful, if you want to be, whatever. What tips would you give your own children?
Well, one thing that we started talking to, and I think I'm going to talk on the grind, is how easy it is to stand out nowadays, and just some of these traits that we just went over. So many people had them 60 years ago, and our grandfathers and whatnot, and today, it seems like one of the biggest things I hear business owners say is hard finding the right people. So, I'm going to let them know that if we could develop and do my best to develop these traits, because if you have them, like, you're a diamond in the rough nowadays, and it's so easy. I don't feel like there's nothing special about me. I just literally, these common sense traits that I'm trying to prevail and show daily, they'll shoot you up the ranks fast. As far as the kids, I think that one of the biggest things would be the golden rule in life, and that's how you treat others and what you do with others. And this has helped me in business decisions, in personal life, that you just do unto others what you want done unto you. So I wouldn't talk about others in a certain way that I wouldn't want the same in return. I'm not going to blow up on people that I wouldn't want them blowing up on me in the same return. So I'll try to live and teach them to live and show and do things that they would want, in return. That's one. Another one is going to be, I'm going to try to make sure that they have high self-esteem and a high self-worth. That, self-esteem, they believe in their ability to do something. Whatever it is, the challenge that they're taking, I'm going to try to make sure they're confident.
Belief.
Yeah, and then self-worth even more, especially with a daughter.
Yeah.
That they fit their ability, their thought process of themselves, what they think of themselves. And that's part of how I would like to raise them and anybody that comes into our business that I'm around, is to think and expect highly of yourself. Because some of these people have it inside them, they're just not even thinking that they do, because their self-worth is low. So if I could build up somebody's self-worth and self-esteem, and you're only going to get as far as what your expectation of yourself is. And so if that's low, where are you going to go? You almost don't even think you deserve it. So
right.
Whether that's who my daughter dates or marries eventually, I want her to have a very self-esteem. Same with the people. And then 3, take ownership whenever you make mistakes. And I don't think that, just like parenting or in business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and not every decision that you make is going to be right. But as long as you're making these life decisions, these business decisions, from a good heart, these parenting decisions, from your gut with good intentions, good heart, you're usually going to be right a better majority of the times that you're wrong. If you have good intentions, you're making them from gut and heart. There is no secret answer to parenting. Like, something happens, let me look up in a book and do this exactly right now. You don't know. So you're just going off your gut, your heart, your instincts, and that's the same stuff with business, same shit with leadership. And majority of the time you're going to be right if your intentions are right and you're good-hearted in doing it. So you help a lot of people along the way. It's eventually going to come back around to you. So those are a couple things. I mean, there's 1,000 that you could probably spit on, but I mean, that's just literally what pops in.
Thought of one more. From your parents to anything that sticks out to you. Is there? Think of a couple. People that you've learned from, be it in books or mentors or family members. Right. What have you pulled from some people that you feel is a part of who you are?
Yeah.
Even though not every trait of that person is in you, you pulled the good out of that person and said, "Man, I learned a lot from this person. I learned a lot from that person."
It's funny because it's different traits from different people.
Yeah.
When my dad.
I see a lot of your mom and a lot of your dad in you.
Yeah, right.
Both of them.
My dad is.
One's an angel and one's an angel with little devil wings.
Yeah, like two different on your shoulders. They're my first and foremost. My dad is very strong, and me and my brother put him through hell for a good 10 years. Both of our parents, like, we were bad, we were wild in different ways, and they never like would throw the towel in. They would just, and whenever you get through that with someone that's always in your corner, even when you go through hard stuff, I mean, that, like, the loyalty that comes,
Right.
Yeah, so I recognize that in knowing when or what to, just because people are going through some rough stuff, never to just throw the towel in, because sometimes they'll come out of that, and the loyalty, and they're animals, and I think most kids put their parents through something like that. So they show me that, and that will help me with parenting. My dad showed me how to handle a lot of pressure. Never seen him break down or worry or visibly, just whatever pressures that come his way through fighting and whatnot. He was always calm, cool, and collected, kind of the leader of the group. Whatever situation he was in, was always like, all right, this is what we're gonna do, boom, 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 and never like break down or never heard him complain about it, whether it was construction, hard, or whatever. And my mom was just a sweetheart. She showed, loving, caring. My mom, I would never hear badmouth people. I think that comes in. I grew up never watching her badmouth. I never watched her, mother F swear, like that way. So that's the first person I had to, what a lady was like, and kind of, Courtney's the same way. She reminds me of my mom in that sense. Courtney don't badmouth anybody. She don't swear. You never hear her say the F word. Like, I don't even, when it's me and her, I don't hear her say the F word.
She's a saint.
Yeah.
For dealing with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, that too.
So, Court, man, I mean, when you go to heaven, I know you're automatic for dealing with this dude. I mean, just give me a good referral.
Truth, court to sport.
Yeah.
And then, you was a perfect time between the discipline and thinking big. Two of the biggest things that I've taken from you, especially at 26 years old. I didn't have that kind of discipline. You had it at a mid-age, early age. A lot of people don't have that kind of freak with discipline. and that helped slow me down because I was just off the charts wild. And that discipline, even if it took a couple years, and we're still not.
To get you off the south side.
Yeah. It was persistence beats resistance. So that discipline helped me a lot. Scheduling, stuff like that, stuff that I was never around, and then the magic of thinking big, what to expect. So, it almost like whatever I was thinking, like it allowed me to start thinking like that could be done in a year to 2 years, which I would have never have thought that if I wasn't exposed to the right person. That coachability thing that we talked about, I almost feel bad for a lot of people. Don't even earn it in a situation where they have a mentor coach that will coach them like that and give them. They don't even get the option to pick those 4 things they don't do. So it's almost worse when you have the person and you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we underestimate the fact that most people don't even get to have someone like that in their life. So then you got my brother, strong, shirt off your back type of guy, very, very loyal. My brother's a very, very loyal. He doesn't he's not good at faking anything. These people that I think that his work ethic was strong. My brother will work 16-hour days. I feel like I got a good work ethic. My dad has a good work ethic. My mom worked 40 years. My brother's like a freak with a work ethic. So a lot of these people, Britton from the way he'll carry himself, and the best I think. Whenever you get good at humans, you don't just do it on your own. You look at these people that are in your lives and these qualities that they have, and you're like, wow, those are great qualities on the person. And then you adapt them and steal them. Yeah, you adapt them and steal. And when you can put those together from a bunch of different people, whoa, you become overall your stock's going to rise very fast.
Yep.
Well, Maddie, I just want to say thanks for joining us, and it's cool for the when the teacher becomes to has an opportunity to be the student.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And you've been somebody that I've been able to I remember walking through every phase of baggy dress shirts and everything, and begging you to please get off the south side, and to where one of my go-tos for advice on things, personal life, business life, you've become part of that circle of wisdom, to where I value your opinion because of how much you've grown in the things you've accomplished and the person that you are on the inside out. So, Maddie, I love you. Appreciate you coming on. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Stay tuned for another episode of the Grindcast.
Awesome.
Get ready. It's a new day.
Thank you, guys.